Story 1. You want war? We will give you. The holographic display shimmered briefly as the neural interface calibrated itself. The galactic conclave of overseers leaned in, their antennae twitching with anticipation as they eagerly awaited the Zorgan representative's response to their demands. The swirling nebula on the screen faded, replaced by the visage of a Zorgan diplomat. The Zorgan stared directly into the neural interface, its mandibles clicking in a display that caused several overseers to retract their optical stalks. It began to speak. We have processed your communique. The Zorgan High Command has provided me with the following prepared statement. The Zorgan's multi-jointed appendages momentarily disappeared from view, returning with a single data crystal. The Zorgan inhaled and commenced reading. You seek to engage us in conflict as your overseers believe that Zorgan influence is corrupting your society with inexpensive amusements and access to the cosmic web. You seek to engage us in conflict as your artisans feel that Zorgans are underselling them. You seek to engage us in conflict as your cultivators believe their produce cannot rival imported sustenance. You seek to engage us in conflict as your merchants feel that Zorgans are claiming an excessive share of the economy. So be it, declare war if you must. The Zorgan raised its gaze from the data crystal, its forward-facing optical sensors seemingly peering into the essence of each overseer before proceeding. But be aware of this. We shall not engage you in open warfare. We shall not assault your worlds, nor annihilate your armadas. We will embargo you. We will cease commerce with you, depriving your merchants of access to dozens of Zorgan systems. No more lucrative export of exotic delicacies or enigmatic trade goods. No more imported sustenance, no more gross stimulants and engineered pest repellents. No more affordable raw materials for your industries. No more small indulgences for your overseers, nor silken garments for their consorts. The Zorgan paused, its predatory eyes narrowing slightly as it continued. We will sever your connection to the cosmic web, leaving you bereft of news, knowledge, and near instantaneous communication. Your offspring and consorts will no longer be able to view their cherished cosmic dramas. Your overseers cannot remain informed of events beyond their gravity wells, and communications revert to sublight speeds. The Zorgan gently set down the data crystal, then brought the digits of each upper appendage together, forming a triangle before its powerful mandibles. Your merchants will exhaust their funds as their markets have vanished. Your cultivation will become barren and infested as the soil is depleted and the pests resistant. Your industries will grind to a halt, lacking both essential materials and a market. Your leaders will be as if blind and mute, groping in the darkness for answers that will never arrive. Your people will hunger and be without work, and there will be nothing on the neural net to distract and pacify them. The Zorgan seemed to loom larger on the screen as it continued in a monotonous tone. There will be disquiet. There will be fury. There will be uprisings and barricades in the streets of your cities and settlements. Your empire will disintegrate from within and without. The Zorgan reclined, lowering its gripping appendages once more. Its features appeared to soften along with its voice. And then we shall arrive. One world at a time. Not with warriors and armaments, but with sustenance, shelter, trade, and an invitation to join the Zorgan collective. You present us with war. We decline that offer. The neural interface withdrew, revealing more of the Zorgan, seated behind a desk crafted from flat segments of organic material. You can thrive with Zorgan trade, accessing our economy as we access yours. You can acquire knowledge, news, and interactions with Zorgans on the cosmic web. Just as Zorgans benefit from your knowledge and learn from interacting with you. You can enjoy our amusements while we marvel at and discuss your vibrant culture. Or you can descend into chaos and be absorbed by the Zorgans, and over time become little more than a subculture on some Zorgan worlds. The overseers of the conclave began to chitter once more, not in anticipation, but in dread, as the Zorgan voice gently concluded and the neural interface faded to black. The choice is yours after all. Just take your time. We can wait even if you cannot. Story 2, the nature of violence. Aggression. In most cases, it's unacceptable, but occasionally it's justified. However, it should never be treated as casually as the car was due. I joined the crew of the Karwa cargo ship Cosmic Behemoth, whatever that signifies, about 30 standard cycles ago. During this period, I became acquainted with several members of what must be the most terrifying yet entertaining species in the universe. When you're a crew member on a large cargo vessel, you often find yourself extremely bored. Due to the Karwa's rudimentary implementation of automation and artificial intelligence controller software, which was enhanced with xenotechnology to be roughly on par with the rest of the universe. The crew of our 300-unit cargo ship numbered only about 12, including myself, since most functions of the ship could be monitored by datapad, and because the ship essentially flies itself, all of us would usually gather in either the crew mess or the lounge together. This led to interaction that all other species would consider crude and very primitive. Video gaming had never caught on with the rest of the universe. Sure, there were minor puzzle games, and the universal mobile smash hit asteroid dodge. But there were so many things to entertain oneself with on a large station or city planet that gaming was minimal. This was not the case for Karwas, however. Their planet had bred them to be predatory creatures. They were always restless during their waking hours, needing some sort of task or stimulation. Something to soothe the primal part of their brains that allowed them to be such efficient hunters. Evidently, one of the Karwas had illicitly smuggled some antique device onto the ship, as well as a massive holoscreen that had been hastily modified to accept a primitive input jack. I was introduced to this equipment my first day after I had been found walking the halls marveling at their primitive technology. One of the Karwas had said, "Hey, Kurtis, have you ever played Cogs of Conflict before?" When I questioned what exactly that was, I was dragged into the crew lounge, where there was apparently already a game in progress. There were 4 Karwas sitting in front of the holoscreen, animatedly chatting as the screen displayed what appeared to be 4 heavily armed Karwas in combat attire. The Karwa who dragged me in excitedly announced that he and I got next. For a few moments, I tried to make sense of the game as all 4 players' avatars jumped and ran around the screen. When their avatars finally came together, I witnessed the most horrifying thing I had ever seen to this point in my life. 2 of the avatars had just used primitive weapons to obliterate the other 2 avatars. An explanation was quickly given as to what exactly a plasma cannon with fragmentation rounds does. Blood sprayed across the screen as time and again the pairs of Karwas would locate and kill each other in-game. As time passed, I witnessed laser rifles, close quarters kills, and even a strange victory dance called corpse humping. Particularly gruesome kills were played and replayed in slow motion, as limbs were removed from their owners, entrails exploded outward, and brain matter was splashed like paint against a new starship's hull. My stomach couldn't handle the aggression. I started to feel sick, my saliva getting thicker as the acrid taste of bile began to make me retch. I ran to the nearest waste receptacle and violently emptied my stomach, tasting the awful nutrition supplements a second time. The smell was overpowering, and that's when all sound from the group of Karwas stopped as the game was paused. 2S had also run to waste receptacles, as they were what Karwas called sympathy hurlers, while the other 2 were red in the face as they could not breathe from laughing so hard. This was soon ended, however, as they both began to accidentally inhale massive mouthfuls of vomit-tinged air. "I can taste it," exclaimed one. "Oh my stars, what the frack," yelled the other. They both evacuated the room as the first 2 Karwas and I continued to regret eating so much for dinner, laughing all the way down the hallway. Hopefully, the rest of the universe is not exposed to this kind of horrific entertainment.